Identification.
Also, we'll be providing answers for the questions on the screen. Pause the video if you want to read the questions in detail. In addition to the CIA triad, there are many other security concepts that the CISSP exam will contemplate regarding the design of a security policy as part of deploying a security solution.
First, we can mention what is known as AAA services, or the process of authentication, authorization, and accountability. To be effective, all its elements must work properly. Those elements are referred to as the 5 elements of AAA services, and they are identification, authentication, authorization, auditing, and accountability. Identification. Let's think about an effective access control. How does it work? It starts when an individual claims an identity. For example, if I want to access my Gmail account, I would open the Gmail sign-in page. Then I would enter my Gmail ID. At that point, I would be stating that I am who I am. Notice that I have not yet mentioned entering my password. I am only at the point when I have expressed that I am Irma. So identification happens when a subject professes an identity and accountability is initiated. What does that mean? Well, it means that at this point you can enter your identity, or if you decide to claim a false identity, let's say if you're a hacker, you will be accountable for your actions from that point on. A subject must provide an identity to a system to start the process of authentication, authorization, and accountability. Now, there are multiple ways that an identity can be provided. Like with the example I just mentioned, I can type in my username. But for a different system, I could perhaps provide a process ID number. Other ways could be by positioning your face, hand, or finger for a scanning device, by speaking a phrase, by swiping a smart card, or waving a proximity device. Identity is a very elemental concept, a very basic one. Without an identity, a system has no way to correlate an authentication factor with the subject. To better understand, like sometimes you try to log into a system and you get a message that says that the ID you just entered doesn't exist. That's what I'm talking about. Before you can enter your password, you have to establish your identity so the system knows who you are and your credentials can follow. Then once a subject has been identified, that is, once the subject's identity has been recognized and verified, the identity is accountable for any further actions by the subject. IT systems track activities by identities, not by subjects themselves, since a computer can distinguish one human from another. But what it does know is that your user account is different from all other user accounts. A subject's identity is typically labeled as or considered to be public information. However, simply claiming an identity does not imply access or authority. The authority of the identity must be proven or verified before access to control resources is allowed. That process is authentication, and we will talk about it in another video.
So that's it for now. During this video, we discussed the following topics:
AAA services, identification.
Are you ready to test your knowledge? Here are the questions again. Pause the video if you want to read the questions in detail. The answers will follow. Thank you for watching me, and I hope you watch me again.